Just talk about Hey guys, I have to move 6 feet away from you, sorry. Okay, there you go.
It's okay.
You guys ready for the COVID peep show? Check it out. Oh yeah. Have you ever seen a man's nose and mouth before? Check it out. I cannot wait until we do not have to wear these masks. It is crazy coming from not just the United States, but Texas, where they seem to have completely forgotten that COVID exists. Where they walk around, they're like, hey, your mask, sir? And I go, I'm wearing a mask. And they go, yes, that's the problem. You need to take that off. You look ridiculous. I'm like, but there's a pandemic happening. They're like, ain't no one else wearing a mask. Anyway, so I really appreciate your country for taking it seriously. Hopefully it will be long gone. And then I'll be able to come back next year and we won't have to wear these stupid things. So it's
Chris, our friend Sarah here in the yellow shirt is going to wander through the audience and get our audience questions. I'm going to kick things off with one while you all raise your hands so that she knows who to come to for bribes, so that you get to be the first one or one of the people that gets to ask a question. We're going to try to get everybody in. I wanted to kick things off asking what the journey of being All Might has been like as you've been out here meeting fans. You're a father yourself. He is our school dad from the world of anime. What is the kind of appreciation that you're hearing from the other side of the table that this character has meant to people? How has that touched you? How has that influenced the responsibility you feel like you have portraying this character?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned this because somebody brought me something that I had signed here in like 2017, which means I guess I've been doing. I guess I've been doing this role for longer than I remember, because I guess that must have been right when like My Hero Academia started. I feel like this character was meant to be, and I feel like all the other characters that I played before All Might have just been training me to be All Might. Like all the other tough guys that refuse to wear shirts or could shoot fire out of their hands, or were really mean to people, or really kind to people. Like everything just kind of combined to make All Might, and it came at the perfect time in my life. All Might is by far my favorite character to play because he's the one I relate to the most. Of course, I don't like to include Dragon Ball in that because that's just, Vegeta's like my angry brother or something that I love, but he's really annoying sometimes. But he's family to me, so I can't even compare. But I don't know, being a dad really helped me. I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and for some reason, like, All Might just really resonates with me as a dad. And I have a heart of coal. I don't normally cry, but every episode of My Hero Academia makes me cry for some stupid reason. And I think it's because I have kids. So, yeah, and I feel like the people who come see me now at shows, I've seen every age, but the people who come see me at shows is just such a wide variety, and it's such a cool variety of people that come up. There's no, I know that with Dragon Ball fans, it's either someone who works out really, really hard, and I have nothing to relate to them with, because they're like, man, I use Dragon Ball to get these muscles. I'm like, I use Dragon Ball to screw up my voice. And so I love meeting people. I love, it's a different experience working on My Hero Academia, because with Dragon Ball, we recorded most of that. And a lot of the shows I worked on early in my career, we recorded it sometimes a year before anyone ever saw it, because we'd have to record it, then have to get printed on DVD, or maybe it would go to Cartoon Network, but it took a long time. But now I record something and a week later I'm hearing fan feedback from it, and it's a very different thing. So the pressure is on to do an even better job than we ever did before. So I'm very grateful to be able to play a character like All Might, and I will be very sad if I ever pick up a manga and he's dead someday. Did any of you have the same scare I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago? Has anyone been reading the manga out there? I try not to read it because I'm scared to ever pick it up and see. And some fan came up to me and goes, oh man, you're not gonna like what happened to All Might this week. I'm like, don't say that to me. Don't tell me stuff like this. But then I'm like, I'm not gonna look. And then I couldn't stand it. I literally got home and the next day I was online trying to find that issue. And I got very scared. But it's okay. It's fine now, he's still here, so.
Let's turn it over to the fans. Sarah, who do we got? Right here?
Hi, my name's Emily. I know that you play All Might, who's got the quirk one for all, but if you were to have a quirk, what would you want?
If I had a quirk, what would I want? When Justin Briner, the guy who plays Midoriya, and I first started doing our very first interview or anything public about this show, we made a pact that anytime anyone asked us this question, we would try and come up with an original answer because we knew it would be something someone would ask us a lot. So my quirk, if I could have it, would be to make any flat water sparkling water. There you go.
This panel brought to you by the lovely people at Bubbly. Bubbly, sparkling water.
Bubbly, sparkling water. It's a beverage that's not flat.
Next up. Here we go.
Hi, thank you so much for making your way up here. We really appreciate it. I just wanted to ask, do you have any funny stories from your time in the booth, or whether that be as director, producer, voice actor, just something funny that happened?
Oh man, the whole experience of recording is so weird that it's hard to pick out those moments. I'm a director a lot of the time when I'm in the booth. But I'd say that some of the best moments I had were with some of the other actors doing weird stuff. One time I convinced Laura Bailey that a light switch in the booth was voice activated. This was long before that was possible, guys. That's how old I am. Where I would tell her that the booth would turn on automatically if she would just say light on, but I had a little switch near the desk, and it was awesome. Let's see, for whatever reason, I can always remember 1,000 funny moments until somebody asks me this on a panel. Let me think. I'm gonna remember one right after someone else asks me a question, and I will probably come back to this there in a minute.
Right over here.
Hi. If you and any of your characters could travel to any anime or TV show, which one would it be, and what would be the first thing that you would do?
Okay, I'll play that game. If I or any of my characters, okay, if I could travel to any anime, I would actually travel into Dragon Ball, and I would go hang out at Yamcha's apartment in Dragon Ball Super, and we just chill. And I'd laugh at how lame he is, because I think he's just such a funny character. If I could go into another universe as well, if I could keep jumping from universe to universe, I would love to go into the universe of Pop Team Epic. Did you guys ever see Pop Team Epic? If you haven't, you should, because it's super bizarre, and I like really weird places. If I could jump into another anime, I would jump into gosh, where would I go next? I would probably go into an anime called Ninja Slayer. No one's gonna clap their hands for that one. Oh wow, 5 people have listened. That's a really weird one as well. I like the really weird anime. Next question. Who else? There's no other question. I think all future panels should be done with you guys all sitting crisscross applesauce, by the way. That is awesome.
Much more chill kind of vibe, right here.
Who's your favorite Dragon Ball character to voice besides the ones that you've already voiced? Or sorry, no. What's your favorite Dragon Ball character besides the ones you've voiced?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I don't like Goku. Sorry. I just don't like Goku. I don't know if that's because I play Vegeta or I just don't like the guy, but it would be either, man, I love Trunks and I love Hercule. Those are probably my 2 favorite characters. Darn it, I also like Krillin too, but if I had to pick the top 2, it would be Trunks and Hercule. They'd be tied.
Right here.
Hello, what is your favorite line as All Might?
As All Might, would probably be clench your butt cheeks and put all your back into it. I love any reference that All Might has to butt cheeks for whatever reason. That was awkward.
Right over here.
Hi. Recently, you went out of your way to promote the HasLab Victory Saber figure.
Yes.
They were crowdfunding. I want to know what your experience was with doing that, and if you ever got the chance to, would you want to do a voice role in the Transformers series?
Oh, dude, yes. I grew up on Transformers, and so recently I'd seen some people that I was at a convention in Boston, and I saw a setup Hasbro had for they were doing this kind of these new figures for the Victory Saber, and what I didn't ever know is that we all know the Transformers that existed in America. It was produced in Japan, but apparently after Transformers was done here in America, Japan was like, oh, we're not done yet. We're gonna keep going. So they had more seasons of a kind of an alternate, like a continuation of Transformers in Japan, and it's really fascinating. And they had different characters and everything like that. It was kind of a different universe altogether. And I would highly recommend anyone to check it out. And they have this figure that they're doing. It's a kind of a limited edition Victory Saber figure. I don't know if the crowdfunding is done for it. I think it is by now, but hopefully they made it to their goal. It's funny, I never know where to look after my question's done because she hides down there. She like
it's a game of it's Where's Waldo, but with a yellow
She's crawling
shirt.
around on the floor like
she's like, I don't want to be seen until I must be seen, and now she must be seen because here we are.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you had a moment from either, let's say, My Hero or Dragon Ball where you felt like like, damn, I really wish I got to voice that line from a specific like other character.
Oh man. Gosh, I'm having to think about that. I don't know. I always get to say the good lines. Everyone else gets the bad lines.
Yeah, you're pretty spoiled on that show, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. You know, every now and then I think about an alternate universe where I got to play Bakugo. And I'm so grateful that I didn't have to play Bakugo. I think a lot of his lines are really awesome, but every time I see Clifford, we like share a small tear with one another, knowing that we both played characters that tear up our voices really badly. And no one could have played it better than Clifford did, because that guy throws his heart and soul into everything hardcore. And that's why I respect it about him the most. When I first met him, when he was just a young actor and he showed up at the door of our studio, by the way, Clifford Chapin plays Bakugo, if that wasn't clear. He showed up at the door of my recording studio, unannounced, and I was walking out the door and he was standing there with this demo tape. There's a much longer story that goes to this, but like, I met him outside the door. He's like, I wanted to drop off my demo. I'm like, I'm super busy right now. I'm really sorry. I pushed him in the door and I gave his demo to somebody else. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm on the phone with a client, and left. Came back, listened to his demo. I was like, this kid's good. So we started using Clifford. And the thing I've always loved about him is that he reminds me of a lot of the Dragon Ball actors, where he will scream until he's blue in the face because he doesn't want anything to be bad. Like, he wants everything to be as awesome as it could possibly be. So mad respect to Clifford. But yes, I would love to deliver a Bakugo line or two, I'm sure. Nerd!
Hi, as you can see, I'm a fan.
I can see.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you kind of a question about the anime itself and your experience, kind of voice acting for the anime, because All Might goes from this all-powerful symbol of peace to essentially, after his fight with Ultra One, into like essentially a normal human by our standards. How was that kind of transition for you?
It was awesome because I get to play kind of two characters on My Hero Academia. I get to play, All Might's kind of buffed out hero form, but then I get to play kind of a more serious, honest character, because All Might really wasn't a very, like, he was an altruistic character, the big buffed out version. But he was sort of a costume in a way. He was just something that he was presenting to the universe so that everyone would feel safe. But I actually like playing the vulnerable, kind of weak, worried All Might, probably just as much as I do playing the huge, heroic All Might. All Might's big lines are, of course, amazing. I got to do the United States of Smash, which is, I think, one of the best moments I've ever had working in a booth, and one of my things I'm most proud of. But I also really like him sitting around worried about what's happening to Midoriya. I find it far more interesting. And on a side note, I found that there are actually quite a number of, I've found a number of people that really like Weekend All Might. Especially like a certain age group of girls really like Weekend All Might. They're like, he's just so honest with his feelings. And so many people draw pictures of him just sitting there kind of crying or holding his mouth open, smiling. I'm like, guys, take note of this. This is what they want. Girls want guys who are emotional. And so let that be a reminder to all of you. Be like, I'm not gonna make that joke. Be a good person. Never mind.
Right here.
Hi, this is one of my first conventions like this, so I'm really happy I got to meet you, and I have one question, which is, out of My Hero Academia, which is your favorite character besides All Might?
That's hard because there's a lot of them. My favorite character besides All Might is actually, I really like Froppy. Does anyone else like Froppy? Thank you. I used to say Mineta, but then I found out that not only do people not like that joke, they really don't like that joke at all. I've had certain parents come up to me before and they're like, this show is great, I just wish that Mineta was not in it because he's horrible. Does anyone out there actually genuinely like Mineta? There you go. There you go, 2 people. That guy out there likes Mineta.
Now, I mean, like Mineta or like hating Mineta? A little of both.
I couldn't hear him, but I think what he said was like, I really like Mineta a lot.
Yeah,
resonates with me.
Over here.
So a couple of years ago, I got to meet Sean, and I was asking him how he felt when you got the announcement that Dragon Ball was coming back. And he kind of said that he was excited, but also really stressed because of how much work was involved with it.
Yeah.
So what was your feeling when you got that call?
I mean, my feeling was like, yeah, of course. Of course, I keep, because Dragon Ball is one of these shows that I worked on thinking I'd be done, like I was gonna work on it for like 6 months in 1998. And I'm still working on it. I always compare Dragon Ball to a Dragon Ball villain. The whole show itself, you think it's dead, and then the smoke clears and Dragon Ball Z is still standing there going, you haven't seen my next transformation yet. So I wasn't overly surprised that it's back again. And have you guys seen the trailer for the new film yet? Are you guys excited? I'm gonna say this publicly. Every time they've released a trailer or a teaser for their film, or I hear anything about it, my immediate reaction, and I don't know if this is yours, is like, oh no, what if it's not good? That's my fear every time. It's legit, I'm not even lying. And then every single time I end up seeing it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is amazing. This is so good. So I am extremely stoked. They haven't let me down yet on the movies, and I don't think they're gonna let us down this time. I know they've got something special, and I don't know that. I just know in my heart that they have something special in that film that's gonna be really cool to see, so. Oh, sorry, I'm used to sometimes pointing at people, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let you crawl around to them.
Hi, I just wanted to know, like, I guess in the anime for My Hero so far, like, if you had to pick a favorite arc, what would it be?
Of My Hero?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm selfish. I think all of My Hero Academia should only just be the first 2 episodes. That's my favorite part of the series, because that's where All Might is in it the most. I'm just kidding. I'm really digging this villain arc that's happening right now. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's been so much about the heroes, it's now good to kind of catch this other side of it. Plus there's some amazing characters. I am a huge Toga fan, honestly. I'm a huge Dabi fan. I like Shigaraki. I like villains. So I think this whole villain arc thing is actually pretty rad. I'm very excited to see where it's going. Don't look at me when you raise your hand because I can't help you. I'm just gonna sit up here and stare at you.
Hey, so I'm a very big fan. You've been a voice in my childhood for a very long time.
Okay, there you are.
I was wondering with the long career that you've had, were there any roles that you auditioned for that you didn't get? Any characters that got played that you would have absolutely loved to have put a voice to?
Well, yeah, all the things I auditioned for. Like part of being a voice actor is just dealing with, rejection over and over and over again. People look at my table when they come up and they're like, man, how did you get to do like this many cool characters? I'm like, doing it for 22 years is a good start. Because you look and I probably have done 22 cool characters and that's only one a year. So there have been a lot of roles I didn't get. There's one role that I actually got and then didn't get. And I like to talk about this, but I was doing these voiceover sessions in Dallas for this video game, and it didn't have a title. It was just called, I think it was just called Epic or something at the time. And don't get any ideas because you have no idea what it means by that title. But like I was doing some voice work on it, a lot of it, and it was these huge dudes, and they had like these guns that had almost like a chainsaw on them, and I had no idea what it was. And then years later, I saw this video game that I guess they ultimately ended up recording in Los Angeles instead of Dallas. I don't know why they were recording it in Dallas, but it turns out I was the voice of Marcus Phoenix for just a second, like in Gears of War. Did you guys play that game? Yeah, awesome game. Don't clap for it, they didn't use me. I hate them, although I do love their games, so.
Right here.
Hi, I was wondering if there's a favorite moment, an All Might moment that is your favorite, and if there's a specific moment where you fell in love with the character, like if there's a specific moment where you're like, this is the guy.
Oh man. Shoot. I think the reason why people like All Might is because he does grab you very quickly. I think he grabs hold of most people really, really soon in the show. Like I loved him immediately. I auditioned for the character, never being able to see any of the animation because it hadn't been made yet. I got to only see a tiny bit of the manga. So it was really, there was this moment where it's in the first conversation with young Midoriya, where they're standing next to one another, and I love when he's trying to fly off. He's like, goodbye! And he flies off, and young Midoriya is still holding on to him, going like, or whatever, and he looks back, he's like, damn it. I love like that first time where he tells the kid who all he wanted to hear was that he can be a hero, that he can actually be a hero, that like melted me. Like I was done. I was like, this guy's my favorite. He's amazing. And I like some of it, like lately I've been liking some of his really awkward moments that he's having as like weakened All Might as well. Did you guys see the recent episode that had that awkward like, hey, it's me, the symbol of sweets, get it? Sweets? That was such an awkward joke because apparently in the Japanese version it was like a pun about cotton candy that really didn't play very well in English, so we had to work very hard. That was actually directed by a guy named Chris Waycamp, who plays, oh dude, what's the name of the teacher in the sleeping bag? Aizawa, thank you. He's Aizawa in the show. He was directing that episode, so we got to spend a half hour trying to make that joke really work in the show.
Right here in the middle.
Hi. I was just wondering if you have any non-My Hero projects coming up that you're allowed to tell us about.
There aren't many that I'm allowed to tell you about, but I am allowed to tell you about this one. It was announced, and so I'm allowed to talk about it now. I am in, I'm one of the player characters in Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Have you guys played much of that game? Tiny Tina is one of the characters in Borderlands. It's a D&D kind of, it was a D&D expansion for one of the previous games, but they've made it into an entire game. And I'm so stoked to be a part of the cast because, and I'm worried they haven't announced all the cast members in it. But do you know that some of the celebrities that are involved in the game too? Well, then I'm not going to say anything either, so you can look it up yourself. But there's some amazing people that are in it. People, other actors that I find really funny or that I've looked up to for a very long time. So if I could confirm that they've been announced, I'll talk about it, but otherwise I'm not allowed to say anything.
Right here.
Testing, check, check. All right.
I am here.
Okay, good. So I'm currently a writer for Read the Celestials, the anime outcast on YouTube. We do what if such as what if Deku received 1-4 early, what if Deku had the Speed Force or was trained by the Green Arrow.
Okay.
And I have one question. What if would you like us to write in the potential future for us to feature on our channel?
Oh, a what if?
Yeah, pose a what if about My Hero.
Oh man.
What if those first 2 episodes of All Might were just the whole show?
Wow, yeah, what if? Let's see. Okay. What if All Might had chosen Mineta instead? What sort of show would that be? Probably not very popular among parents.
What's that I hear? It sounds like Reddit exploding.
Yeah.
Off in the distance.
What if, let's see. Wow, I mean, everyone out here has a what if. Like, what if, okay, what if Midoriya's dad has been in his house the whole time watching TV in the other room, annoyed that All Might keeps coming and bothering his wife, and he wishes his son had just become a dentist like he was. There you go. That's my what if.
Next one, right over here.
Hi there. So if All Might could give One for All to anyone from Dragon Ball, who would it be and why?
He would probably want to give it to Yamcha, because poor Yamcha has had such a terrible run of things. He's like, you too can be a hero. And Yamcha's like, oh, what, really? I could be a hero as well. I was already a hero in Dragon Ball. Let's see, who else would he want to give? Krillin. Yeah, poor Krillin's died too many times in this show. He probably, what'd you say? Oolong. That's a good one. He should give his One for All power to Mr. Popo, I believe. That's my final answer.
Hi, I'm Selena, and I was just wondering, you had mentioned earlier that you get kind of emotional sometimes watching My Hero Academia, but I was wondering if there's any like tear-jerking moments while you were recording?
That's the biggest problem. They're all tearjerker moments while I'm recording. It's very, very hard. I have to kind of reset a lot while I'm working because it's, especially the emotional scenes. When he was telling, there's a couple of scenes that come to mind. The scene where All Might is talking to Midoriya's mom, saying that he's going to take better care of him, broke me. The scene where he's walking with Midoriya in the park and telling them that he's going to try and, keep looking after him as well. And then there was another scene that wrecked me. I don't want to speak too much of it because maybe not everyone's completely caught up. Man, I'm choking up thinking about it now. He has a scene with Aizawa in the cold sitting on a park bench in a recent episode. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? That is a serious moment, and I think it speaks to a lot of people, and it addresses addresses a topic that I think needs to sometimes be addressed more often when people are really, really facing difficult challenges and don't know what to do. I just don't want to spoil it for anyone if they haven't gotten there, but clearly All Might's not doing really well at this point in the series. That's not something to cheer about, guys. Come on. He's not doing too well at this part in the series, and he admits to Aizawa that he's been really, really, really low. And I'll just leave it at that. All right, that's happy.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. We know that you've got a bunch of people that want to see you at the table. So if we don't get to your question, he is going to be back at his table after we're done here. Let's try to get as many in as we can in these 5 minutes here, all the way back there.
Hello there.
Hey.
So I'm probably going to be one of the only people who don't talk about My Hero or Dragon Ball, but I want to know more about Yu Yu Hakusho. And I want to know if there was any funny moments that happened while recording or anything that stood out to you, and also what is your favorite quote as Kuwabara?
Well, I'll start right there. I'm Kuwabara and I have a sword, is my favorite. It's pretty obvious. And I like anything about Aikichi. But my favorite thing about working on My Hero Academia, Yu Yu Hakusho, is that we had just been working on Dragon Ball forever. I mean, it just seemed like that's the only show we worked on at the time. And then Yu Yu Hakusho was one of the first new shows we got, so it was fresh and it was different. And what made it really special is that Justin Cook, who's the voice of Kirishima, was my audio engineer for a lot of the Dragon Ball series, and he ended up being the director for Yu Yu Hakusho, and I got to play Kuwabara with Justin Cook, who was directing it and was also the voice of Yusuke Urameshi. So we were best friends at that time. We're still best friends, but during that time period, we would record, and then we'd come back to my apartment, which was very close to Funimation, and we would just take turns playing The Sims over and over again on my PC. And then I would go to sleep, and I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he would still be playing because he's very impulsive like that. But yeah, I felt like the best thing about Yu Yu Hakusho is that Kuwabara and Yusuke Urameshi were kind of best friends in that show, and that's how I felt about Justin, and I think it made it kind of really special to work on that show for that reason. Thanks for the question, I appreciate it.
Hi Chris, it's Mike. So my question is what was your most historic favorite event of fighting Kakarot?
I always go back to Majin Vegeta would be the best part of all of Dragon Ball. If it had ended at the end, I'd say my second favorite part would be the introduction of a character named Zamasu. Have you guys heard of the character Zamasu? Zamasu, do you guys know him? Yeah, very important character. Played by one of the best actors that I know. His name is David Gray. Do you guys know who David? Oh, I guess you don't know who he is. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, I had a question for you.
No, I'm sorry, sir. I think we need security.
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to know, that awesome Dragon Ball movie that was so amazing, I can't believe it. You didn't get to play Piccolo in the movie, but the dude that played it was super good.
Are we gonna get to a question?
Did you get totally jealous of his performance and everything, man?
So how many of you guys saw the Dragon Ball Z live action movie? Amazing, right? Wasn't Piccolo the best character in it? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is James Marsters.
Let's hear it for James Marsters, everybody.
You all know him from all the amazing stuff that he worked on. Many of you don't actually know that he actually was in the Dragon Ball live action movie as Piccolo. And I'm sorry to make you stand there.
I'm so sorry.
You opened yourself up to this.
Oh yeah.
There was a moment where Sean Schemmel was at a convention with James Marsters. Sean's the voice of Goku. And he's like, James Marsters is here. I'm like, you've got to go talk to him. He's like, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm like, he was Piccolo in the live-action Dragon Ball movie. He goes, he's not going to want to talk about that. I'm like, believe me, if you were in a movie like that, you would want to unload it. So he goes and he talks to James, and apparently, James, it was exactly what I thought. Like, because that Dragon Ball movie, and I'm not going to let him say this because he may have some old contract where he can't talk about it.
It sucked.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It sucked.
That movie was supposed to be amazing, though. It was supposed to be directed by Stephen Chow, right? And Stephen Chow is known for what I believe is the only existing good Dragon Ball Z live-action movie called Kung Fu Hustle. Have you guys ever seen Kung Fu Hustle? Amazing film. He is supposed to direct the Dragon Ball movie. It was supposed to have a like $200 million budget. What was the budget by the end?
$30 million.
Yeah, really, $30 million, guys.
Enough for like food for the crew.
So, lesser known fact, he talks to James. I end up meeting James. Turns out James Marsters is a massive Dragon Ball Z fan. Huge Dragon Ball Z fan. And in prepping for the film, he and his son watched a lot of Dragon Ball. I'm telling your whole story. I'm sorry, but this is one of my favorite moments in life. And I'm like, would you ever be interested in working on Dragon Ball? And he was like, oh, yeah, I would, except I'm in the union, so I can't really be on the show because it's a non-union show. He goes, but if you didn't pay me and I did it for free, I could do it. So James Marsters did the entire role of Zamasu in Dragon Ball Super for free as a way to redeem himself with the Dragon Ball Z community. Give James Marsters a round of applause. And
I love you. You are the best Piccolo on the planet.
Dude, James, I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Huge hearts.
Only at Fan Expo Canada, everybody.
This is the first, okay, let me explain to you. This is the first time that this has been openly discussed on a panel, because for the longest time, I didn't want to get James in any trouble. James went by the moniker of David Gray on the show, so nobody knew who he was. So go back, re-watch Dragon Ball Super, knowing that James was Zamasu, and you'll get a completely different story about that character. One of my favorite moments of all time. Thank you. I'm actually a little sweating right now because I love James so much. Thank you so much for coming out to see me. I hope to see you next year. I'm probably going to be here. I've missed Toronto so much, and I'm so happy to see everybody.
The good news is you're going right back to your table. So if we
I'm
didn't
just
get
gonna
to
be
your
right over
question,
there.
he's just right over there. To wrap us up, what has it been like being back out here after so long, not coming out to conventions and getting this kind of love from the audience? What's it been like these last few weeks you've been doing these?
I think it's as good for my mental health as it has been for all of yours. Like seeing people again, being in this fandom again, it's amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being safe. And if you want to come chat, I'll be right over there. I'd also like to thank Adam Savage for being Adam Savage. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.